Okay, so we're going to be getting started with our session on student life at FASS. We have with us Dr. Noorman, who is our Assistant Dean for External Relations and Student Life, and he has some students with him. So I'll just pass the time over to Dr. Noorman. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for staying here with us again, and this is FASS Live. We'll be speaking, this is one of the more exciting sessions, I would say. We'll be hearing from undergraduates themselves, not faculty members that you've probably heard for the past few hours or so. So let me just briefly give you a very broad overview of what you can expect for today's 30-minute sharing session. Okay, so we have three panelists here today. They are all senior undergraduates. They've gone through the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. They've gone through the different opportunities that you can avail yourself to as well during your time here in FASS. Let me just briefly introduce them, and then we'll be hearing from each of them how they have capitalized on the different opportunities, the internship programs, made available to them, as well as, their own insights and experiences as an FASS undergraduate. So really, their experiences, they are going to share with us some of their tips, their strategies of how they've navigated their years in FASS. So basically, a kind of dummy's guide as to how do you survive FASS. All right, so we have here on my left, we have Bryan Chang, and Bryan is a political science major. We have Aingeal in the middle. She's a philosophy major, and right at the very end, we have Lingjie, and he's an economics and statistics major who's just graduated this year, if I'm not mistaken. So what we are going to do is we'll start with Lingjie at the very end, and he'll be sharing his session, followed by Aingeal and Bryan at the very end, and we'll be taking some questions, from you if you have any issues, concerns, tips that you would like them to share. Feel free to use the poll EV, and then we'll address that at the very end of the session. Okay, so Lingjie, you have the floor.
Sure. Hi, good morning, everyone. My sharing will be quite short, and I think I would want to keep it more casual. As you know, I'm more of your age, right? So there are three things that I want to share today. Firstly, I'll be sharing who am I and why I'm worth 5 minutes of your time. Next, I'll be sharing about life in FASS, what I have experienced as a FASS student. And then lastly is, if I were fresher again, what are the things that I wish I knew in year one. My objective here is to share with you what is possible and what I have done. So it might not be your path, but at least there are some channels available. So who am I? I'm going to remind you of something that you might not want to recall. Do you remember what's your A-level grade? So personally, I can share with you, my A-level grade is AABC. It is definitely not the top, in FASS, and even by today's standard, I might having some problem getting into FASS. But what I want to share with you is your starting does not determine your ending. You might be questioning yourself, wow, there are so many smart people in the room, smart people throughout NUS. Can I actually achieve? I can tell you, well, there's at least one successful story. I graduated with a CAT of 4.7. Well, I think that's not too bad. And currently, I'm working in Procter & Gamble. So Procter & Gamble is a global brand that owns names, for example, SK2, Head & Shoulders. If you go to your laundry or whatsoever, most of the products I definitely see from P&G. So I'm currently working as a data scientist. Okay, so what is data scientist, right? If you use TikTok, you'll recognize that every time when you scroll a video, the next video is personalized to your recommendation, to your likings. So that is one of the job scope as a data scientist we will do, recommendation engine. So as a fresh data scientist, P&G actually entrusts me with around 20% of original media spending. So that's my portfolio. And lastly, I grabbed this data from Glassdoor, so you can read it for yourself. But what's the key point here is not to show off or whatsoever, is to illustrate to you that there are industries beyond tech and finance. So I don't know what's your career aspirations, but I can share with you that there are many other industries offering good money and good life as well. So next, my life in FASS. Year one, year two, I spent a lot of time not doing internship. I was in Shares Hall, having fun on my weekends. And then I was part of the Shares production as well. So I was on stage acting as an old ape. And at the end of my year 2, I was also part of the orientation week. I was a PD there, so I organized, like orientation games for the incoming freshies. And at the end of year 2, I embarked on my student exchange program to the US. I did a 6-month part-time internship after I'm back, and then I did another 6-month internship after that, and then I received a full-time offer. So what I'm trying to share with here is that you don't really have to find an internship from year 1 if really that is not something you want. So I would recommend that you take the time, understand what you want, and FASS has a lot of flexible module planning for you to ensure that you can even buck out at the year 3, right? So one of the things is like special term. You can actually make use of your special term to complete some of the modules, to speed out the graduation. So in this year, I actually graduated with first class honors with double major. So if that is your goal, trust me, you can do anything you want. Growth mindset is more important. And definitely you need friends. I wouldn't imagine completing all this without any friends in NUS. So if I were a fresher again, I will have 2 things that I think that's very important and I hold dear to my heart. Firstly is don't let others dictate who you are and what you can achieve. If you are right now thinking, should I take that CS 1010? Because everyone says CS 1010 is definitely gonna, tank your CAP. Or for example, you are thinking, I'm a soci major, can I take a math minor? I tell you, you can, because that's what my girlfriend did. Don't restrict yourself, really. The world is your oyster, right? You can do anything you want. And secondly is, results of internship are important. I'm not going to lie to you. But you come to uni, right? Why do you not take an online university? It's because you have an opportunity to interact with your friends, interact with your professors and stuff. Don't waste that opportunity. So finally, I leave my contact details here. If you're interested, definitely feel free to contact me. And one sentence that I want to share with you is, university is about choice. You choose who you want to be after that 4 years. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks very much, Lingjie, for sharing your session with us. I'm a sociologist, but I won't do a maths module because I'm not good at maths. But in any case, of course, it's based on what you're passionate about, and of course, your suggestions, your recommendations, are, of course, right, very important for us to glean from. So right now we have Aingeal next, who will be sharing, her experiences and insights in FASS. Go ahead, Aingeal.
Hello, hi. So yes, my name is Aingeal. So I know it's spelled differently, but yes, it's pronounced as Aingeal. So yes, I'm a year 4 philosophy major at FASS right now. Actually, I'm really into tech and sustainability, and I really have a passion for marketing. I'll explain more about that later. Just some quick trivia. I really love cats, and I drink way too much bubble tea than I should. Once a day is not a good count, but yes, that is my current count right now. Okay, so currently I'm doing quite a few things at NUS. I was in the ex-president of the philosophy interest group, but now I've transitioned to an advisor role. Currently, I'm also taking up a president role at the Student Energy NUS chapter, which is focused on energy sustainability. Currently, also the head of publicity at Google Developers Student Clubs at NUS, so that's more related to tech. And lastly, I'm a student as well, writing my honors thesis, just final year things. So I think we're here to listen to career experiences and internship experiences. It was a little bit different for me because I didn't really think about going to hall, but what I wanted to do was really focus on my school and academic stuff as well as build my career outside. So I actually did start from working at startups, and I was very thankful that a lot of people were willing to give me chances to take up things such as marketing, brand management, content creation, as well as public relations. So I've worked with, currently I'm working at GSK, and I'm moving to another role at L'Oreal in the next semester while I'm doing my thesis. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a very broad range of different industries that I work in, ranging from cloud and data center all the way to FMCG. So, well, life at FASS comprises of many things. So we actually just hosted a lot of philosophy events and talks. We had career talks for philosophy students, as well as graduation parties for our just recently graduated philosophy graduates. I also took part in quite a few international case competitions. So thankfully, I had a good team and we managed to pull through and actually win the competition on a national level. I also took up a lot of internship opportunities, as you can see, across my past 3.5, 4 years. So that was a really difficult time, I would say, trying to balance, but I think that's something that we'll all have questions later and might want to address. So I think in terms of career, as you can see, why FASS for me is really because of the schedule flexibility that we have in arranging our modules. So as you saw previous slides, there's a lot of things going on. Right now as well, I think the CHS curriculum provides a lot of cross-disciplinary learning, as well as the FASS curriculum, because we actually did have to take up things like Excel, AI, statistics, design thinking, etc. And those really actually helped me to not only build out competency in very technical skills, but also apply my soft skills and mesh them together to be, as what Prof. Lloyd said just now, an interesting person that people want, that people really think that I'm interesting, because they're like, oh my gosh, what is a philosophy major doing like in FMCG or something, right? Or in tech or cloud and data center. But really being able to apply all these skills really did help me a lot. I actually got a lot of ample support. So CFG has been there to really give you career advice. There's a portal for you, even for people in mid-career as well. There are full-time jobs that is always constantly in my emails, and I always check them regularly because I'm like, okay, what's going on, what's new, right? There's also, as we said, well-being support that you can have. And of course, very, very, very cool people. I think I wouldn't be able to do this without my schoolmates and my professors, who were always there and very understanding. They were really understanding, and they let me pursue my internship opportunities as well as balance my studies. So I think very grateful for that. And of course, I would want to give some advice and tips. So stay curious, seek new opportunities. Planning is very important if you want to pursue a route that has a lot going at once, but I think it's very doable as long as you plan properly. And of course, I think it's a bit not stated enough, but be kind to everyone around you. So yes, you've already taken your next step, so make the best journey that lies ahead of you. Go forth. Thank you.
Thanks very much again, Aingeal. Very sound advice, of course. Very cool students in FASS as well, besides, your friends around. So finally, last but not least, we have Bryan, who will be sharing his insights of his experiences in FASS.
So hi everyone, my name is Bryan, and I'm a political science and economics major. This year I'm currently in year 4.5, and may I ask why 4.5? Well, I took a gap semester because of an internship earlier in 2020. So far I have had 3 internships. I'm currently doing the 3rd one now, and I've been involved in multiple CCAs both inside and outside of NUS. I also have been involved in multiple summer schools, which I'll be showing you later. And I'm also currently an ambassador for FASS as well as the Office of Admissions. Yeah. So my academic experience was actually quite unconventional, I would say. But it's also thanks to the flexibility that FASS provides that I was able to do this. So I originally started out as an econs major because I heard from a lot of my friends and maybe family that yes, if you want to go into maybe a more lucrative career, econs is a very good major to take because of all the skills that it offers. However, I changed my major after going to the UBC summer school in Canada in 2019, where I discovered that what I was really interested in was political science. So instead, I made political science my primary major and econs my second major. So I specialized in comparative politics and international relations. While there's no specialization, formal specialization per se in pol science, that's what I take for most of my mods. Then following that, COVID-19 struck. I was supposed to take an exchange program to Canada, and I was even offered a scholarship at the time. But unfortunately, because everything was cancelled, I had to give it up. But I did not let that stop me from going on. So during that time, what I did instead was an undergraduate research opportunity on COVID-19 in Singapore with the Institute of Policy Studies. So there I really got to know a lot about the different kind of research and the work that they do. And it was really eye-opening to see that even FSS, there are opportunities to partner with, to work with partner institutions such as IPS through such programs. So I won't mention all of them because it takes some time, but basically these are the institutions where I've taken for credit courses. COVID-19 really gave me a lot of opportunities to take many online courses, and it was more for my, I guess, my intellectual kind of curiosity that I took many of them, but I kind of found that it's been very useful for me also in terms of helping me learn how to better manage my time as a FASS student. So these are some of the CCA's external activities that I was involved in. So when I was in year one, I wasn't really too sure what I was interested in, so I just volunteered at Team Nila. So basically that's kind of like a sports volunteer group under Sports SG. So I took part in some of the major events like Junior NBA and the last WTA Singapore Finals in 2018. So it was really experiencing all those great tennis stars play in Singapore at the time. And in year two, I joined the Business China Youth Chapter as a member, and also the ASEAN Business Youth Association as the Deputy Director of our webinar programs. So in Business China Youth Chapter, I was given the opportunity also to moderate some of the in-house kind of dialogue sessions. So if you can see on the top left there, that's me, Dr. Liu Taiker, who is one of Singapore's pioneer architects. Yeah. Following that, I also participated in the NUS mentorship program. And in year three, I joined NUS as an editor and an assistant programs director. Because I was a bit interested on how possibly a career in journalism would go about, so I went there to kind of understand about the editing process and also more about how book clubs are organized. Yeah. And following that, just earlier this year, I joined Run US as the vice project director, because running is also one of my passions. And I'm also taking part currently in the FS mentorship program, and I was a mentor for the NUS Political Science Society mentorship program. So I know that all of you may have questions regarding internships, like how easy is it to get it, and probably what you need to kind of master in order to get an internship with your kind of in your ideal career or your ideal organization much easily. Well, I can say personally for me that there's really no fixed route to getting an internship because I really grappled with failure when I started applying for internships in year two. I sent out over maybe 25 applications, but most of them got rejected. And to make matters worse, there was COVID-19, which explains why they take the leave of absence in order to undertake the internship. So I would say that perhaps at the start, you won't be so kind of familiar with what you want to be next time. But as you do more research, as you try applying to more internships, as you go through each interview process, you gradually become more curious about what you really want to do. So for me, one of those sectors eventually turned out to be the public service. So I have interned at HDB, as well as the Ministry of Law so far in the public sector. So in year three, I also interned in the MFA, but unfortunately got cancelled. But I was lucky enough to get the Ministry of Law internship earlier this year. And now currently I'm interning as a political risk analyst at Control Risk. So this is really one of the rare kind of internships where you get to apply what you learn in your major towards your job. So my job now is to kind of help companies such as maybe Meta or maybe companies such as Ant Financial analyze the political risk situations in various countries, as well as some of the regulatory aspects that they will need to look out for. And if you can see at the bottom there, the photo of me, that's with my fellow colleagues from the Ministry of Law, where we organized the Singapore-China International Commercial Dispute Resolution Conference earlier this year. And apparently around 2 million people attended it virtually from China. So it was quite a huge achievement for both sides. So here's some advice before we proceed to the discussion session. So I would say the most important thing I would recommend is to research before choosing your courses. And you can make use of a lot of platforms such as NUS Mods, Luminous, student blogs, or even just ask your seniors. Because what happens is that sometimes you may think that you are very interested in maybe a certain course, but once you learn from your seniors what the course content is, you may have second thoughts about choosing it. Secondly, I think FASS and CFG provide very useful resources. So there are many programs such as mentorships, company visits, workshops, even career modules, which in fact I took quite a few just in the previous semester. And they are really a great way to improve your career readiness and your understanding of the various industries. So it's a very important step that you can take before you start your internship applications. And third point is to kind of explore CCAs, not just within FASS, but also beyond FASS. So for instance, like me, I was very interested in China, as well as how business is done in China. That's why I joined the Business China Youth Chapter. And there you can also expand your network by getting to know many other fellow kind of schoolmates from other universities. Yeah. But at the same time, I think NUS also offers many exciting CCAs. And read NUS and run NUS are some of the more kind of interesting experiences I've had so far. For fun, go on at least one overseas experience. So even though most of my overseas experiences have been through online programs, now with the reopening of our borders, I think it's a very good idea that everyone should get at least kind of one opportunity. For me, summer school really changed my life because before that I wasn't very confident. I didn't really know what I wanted, but after that I started to become more confident and more clear about what I really wanted, which was to be a political science major and to improve on my various skills. So I think all of you should at least try to go for one of that. Something that's also emphasized a lot, don't delete your emails. I think a lot of my friends, they'll just tell me, oh, like, you know, I have so many emails, I can't be bothered to read of them, I'll just delete it. But in fact, some of these emails actually gave me the opportunities to apply for some of the programs that I'm currently in. So for instance, the current internship I'm doing now with Controversies, I learned about this opportunity from an email through the political science department. So yeah, important lesson, don't delete your emails. And also forge your own path. So I know a lot of people, actually even me included in the past, I used to probably look at other people's LinkedIn profiles and like, oh, like this person is a political science student, and oh, after that they went to this ministry, they went to that company, and this is probably how my path's going to be. I would say don't restrict yourself to that because each person is different. Like, as you can see me, the number of online courses I took, I doubt many people will actually go through the experience, but it's kind of a unique experience for me, and I feel it really benefited me. So do forge your own path. And lastly, give back to your juniors. I really had a lot of help from many seniors, as well as many of the profs that I've taken lessons with, and I think it's very important to give back as you become seniors too as well. So with that, I end my presentation, and yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Bryan, for sharing your experiences with us also as well. Very sound advice. It's important to go also beyond academics and to think about others as well. So as you can see, you know, there are a lot of opportunities made available here in FASS, a very flexible curriculum. You're able to choose your majors by the end of the 4th semester. So you have, you know, a lot of these opportunities, internships, mentorships, and whatnot that you can avail yourself to being an FASS student. So, Mark, do we still have time? I'm mindful of time. We have 5 minutes right now for any questions that any one of you here in the audience may have. So please go ahead. You can use the poll EV that you see here on the screen and share your questions with us for student panelists here.
Send this question. Oh my gosh.
So I guess, Aingeal, you can answer the question.
She wants to fight me now, I'm kidding. Tutorials in philosophy, very interesting. I feel like everyone is so ready, you know, to take a stance all the time. I don't think it's respectful dissent, I would say. Everyone's very like, you know, I respect your opinion, but also I have some points that I want to make regarding that. Yeah, I think that is the fun in philosophy that I've had for a very long time. It was definitely a very challenging experience because I never ever thought of going to philosophy, but you know, being in that environment because of its challenge, because of the people there that are so passionate, yeah, it's great. Oh my gosh, wow, we have very interesting questions. Let's move on.
Okay, so the next question, thanks Aingeal. I mean, tutorials are very fun also in many disciplines. What advice would you give to those with performance anxiety in uni? So would anyone like to respond? Bryan, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, because it's more personal, so I'm not sure if it will suit you. But for me, in the first few semesters, I was actually very anxious about my CAP. Because when I first started out, I got quite good grades, in fact. But after the second semester onwards, up to the end of the second year, my grades were just dropping. And I was really anxious throughout every sem. It's like, am I going to get at least an A minus? Am I going to get B plus? Or even get B minus? Because some of my grades for some of the modules that I had were actually pretty bad. But then what I think will be very important is to not focus so much on the grades. Because the more you think about whether I'll get B plus, B minus, can I get an A, that will just make you like kind of bring into a cycle of anxiety. So I think it's important to focus instead of on whether on kind of reflecting on whether you really know the content you are learning in class. So if there's anything that you are not sure about, just go for consultations with the prof, just do more revision. I think it's all those kind of daily habits that eventually build up to your grades. And what I keep on constantly reminding myself was that there's really no point to just keep on thinking about the grades. You have to really just treat it like the regular practice, regular kind of understanding of knowledge. And only after the grades come out, then you really know what it's it. So there's no point worrying about it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Bryan. So perhaps the next question, best places to eat on campus. So your favorite store, each of you, perhaps just one.
I love the Science has this pasta place. I always go there and eat. You can try, yeah.
I'm actually a vegetarian, so the vegetarian stall. But I think every stall in NUS FASS canteen actually has a plant-based option. So I love that. Yeah.
Yep. For me, I like the Western food in the canteen, and like maybe after exams or maybe sometimes after a very intense project, that's where I'll go to eat. Yeah.
Okay, we need your nutrition. Okay, so next up, the next question is. Can you share some positives and negatives you experienced from taking a leave of absence? Yeah?
Okay, so I think one of the positive things about taking a leave of absence is that you're able to have opportunities for many more internships that require longer durations that you probably won't be able to get during the regular summer break. So for me, I did an internship at the Customer Management Department HDB. And yeah, contrary to the name, it's not just like, attending to customers. What we do is like really analyzing how our e-services are performing and trying to do a bit of UI UX and finding out the most common complaints from customers about e-services. So what Mr. Moderator told me was that this project was really kind of like a long-term 4-month, 5-month project because they really needed people to analyze and work on many of the suggested improvements. So they would not actually take any kind of interns for the summer break to work on this kind of project. So for me, like a political science student, being exposed to a bit of UI UX and web analytics, I think that was something that I really took out of being able to get this internship. Negative-wise, I can already think of one now. So because most of my classmates, they actually already graduated just earlier this month. So I'm one of the few people that's still continuing on. So if you are like kind of out to find a job also, graduating in December may not be that ideal sometimes because many of the management associate programs offered by some companies or government agencies, they are usually released towards April or June. So for me, I'll most probably take a few months off, maybe doing some internships or some part-time work after I graduate. Then I will go and apply for a full-time job afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Bryan. So I'm mindful of time, so let me just take the last 3 questions. I'll do this collectively because it has to do with internships,
Sure.
right? So, so the questions, are they mostly paid or unpaid? Singapore versus overseas internship programs. How do you engage with, internship opportunities, especially for those who are financially not well off or those who are not really high performing in their studies? So perhaps, we can just hear from each of you, and then we can draw an end to the session.
Sure, then I will start first. So I will address the problem, are internship paid or unpaid? And I will touch briefly about taking an LOA to do an internship, my personal opinions. And lastly, I'll talk about if, let's say, you're financially not so well off, how can we actually go for overseas? I think the last question is easier. You can go for NOC. Because NOC allow you to work and study and on an overseas base. So I have friends who go for NOC, they actually earn some money. So at the end of the whole program. So I think that's totally doable if you can try it. Secondly, regarding whether internships are paid or unpaid, and regarding whether you do LOA, my personal view towards this is internships, I'm not just there to learn, I'm also there to contribute. So for my contributions, I think I deserve some kind of real compensations. So definitely my past internships are paid. I would say it's pretty good pay. And I personally, I did not take a LOA to do internship. I did 2 6-month internship, if you recall. So I did not take any LOA. It's definitely not easy, but I think delaying graduate to me is not worth the opportunity cost. So for econs major here, so you need to calculate your own opportunity cost, understand what is the potential benefit you are giving up. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So yes, I think similar to what Lingjie said, yes, you can actually get some subsidies and grants for your overseas internship opportunities. I didn't really go because I really wasn't, I think it was mostly the COVID stifling thing, but at the same time, I was grateful enough to have a lot of opportunities in Singapore. So yeah, just make sure that you plan out and map out, because right now, thankfully, borders are open. So yeah, research a lot on the grants and subsidies that you can have. Yeah. And of course, I think, yes, internships mostly are paid. As an employee, you should really be demanding you should be demanding fair compensation for the work that you do. I really strongly believe in this. Definitely, there are some clauses and exceptions, which is like if you're doing a teaching internship, sometimes a stint with MOE, for instance, you might not get compensation because that counts to your electives or your modules, for instance. But yes, please try to get yourself a paid internship and stipend.
Okay, since Aingeal and Lingjie have mostly addressed the aspect about finances, I'll just now talk mainly about the part about overseas studies or internship opportunities for those who are not really probably well-performing in studies and CCAs. So I would say actually depends on, for internship, it depends on the kind of internship they're looking for. Some of them, maybe the companies are probably a bit more conservative, or they require students of a certain academic caliber, like in areas like research. They probably kind of expect a higher cap. But in most of the internship kind of interviews I went through, what they looked at first was actually not my cap. That was kind of secondary. And what they looked at was whether I had the ability to kind of analyze things in a kind of like a coherent way that I'll be able to contribute to the organization. And also how I kind of, my knowledge about the organization itself, as well as some of my additional portfolios that I had. High performing in CCAs, well, I don't really know how to define that, but if you are talking about like maybe becoming a leader, like maybe a project director or something like that, I would say that is not entirely necessary. For instance, even if you are like a team member, but you made a lot of contributions in areas such as maybe design, you have a portfolio of yourself to show, then that can be considered high performing in itself. And I think it's a really valuable asset to showcase when you're applying for internships. Internships mostly paid or unpaid. So far, almost my internships are paid. There are definitely a few companies that will give unpaid internships. My friend actually went for an unpaid internship. He didn't like the experience, but I guess it's actually really up to the individual and organization. But yeah, I also agree with both Aingeal and Lingjie that I feel internships should be paid, although I try not to expect too much for the compensation. So for instance, for most government agencies, the current going rate is around 1K a month. So yeah, which is actually can be lower compared to other large private organizations. So I think what's most important will be that you kind of identify the company's values, as well as you have the necessary skill sets and the motivation to contribute to the company in that area when choosing internships. Yeah.
Okay, we have run out of time, but please do keep the questions coming through Poll EV, and then we'll reconnect you with these responses accordingly. Lastly, please join me in thanking Bryan, Aingeal, and Lingjie. They're on internship now. Thank you for sharing, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Noorman and Bryan, Lingjie, and Aingeal.